thinking, and we're live.
Hi, welcome to the StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 312. Yeah, it is, again, not to have too much of real life eke in, right? But it is dark days in Minnesota in more ways than one. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Weather.
Yeah.
Other
a
stuff.
lot going on, just a little bit north of us, right, where
Yeah.
a lot of people will be flying in for ZK. So yeah, my heart just goes out to the community, and sadness that things like this continue to happen, right, even as we're dealing with the previous experiences. So
Yeah, it's a wound that never gets a chance to heal.
yep.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yep. And yeah, Minnesota, we got to do better.
Right. Yeah. And take a breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of misinformation going around.
Yep.
I don't know how many things I read recently that I'm like, that's not what I heard on the news. And so then I'd have to go back and re-research, and I was like, still not sure what's true or what's not. It's so confusing.
Yep. As Valerie just said, a brutal reminder that so much change is needed. So
yeah, and again, having things hit so close to home.
Yep. Yeah. It's horrific even when it's not in your backyard, but to have it be in your backyard is quite another. So I know, Amy, you and I have been having conversations off camera, and I just wanted to be representative of, that it isn't always sunshine and rainbows, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep. No, it's been, I think overwhelming is the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you're not overwhelmed at this point, I don't know. It's a lot.
It is a lot. In addition to just everything else that's going on in the world today, right? So,
mm-hmm. Yep, still in a pandemic. Still.
Yeah.
People are still spending the majority of their lives not communicating with people in person.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my family's situation, right? My kids just went back to school,
Mm-hmm.
a week and a half ago. And so getting that face-to-face interaction and getting back into the world where we can, process, right? You need another person to process things,
Mm-hmm.
I find.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're all sitting not face-to-face, and it's just harder to process.
Yep. Whew. Well,
okay.
All of that to say, we did have something to celebrate this past weekend, your birthday. Lots of birthday wishes out there. Did you have a good day? I know that you said that it was very dark and you were looking for the sunshine.
Yeah, I mean, it was chill. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think I discovered the Great Pottery Throwdown and watched an entire season of it. That's what I did for my birthday.
What is that on?
HBO Max. So It's not available for everybody, but if you have HBO Max, it is. I'm not really into baking. It's not my form of expression, but throwing pots, that looks like a lot of fun. And creating with your hands, something, people can claim that for food, right? It's just not my thing. So when I see lumps of clay turned into pots, that's really, and I don't know if it's the same Great British Bake Off, but it is the Great British Pottery Throwdown. So I think it is related. And it's very similar. It's calming. Everybody likes each other. There's no backstabbing or whatever, right? It's like, oh, you won. And then when somebody gets
the
eliminated,
prize isn't
they're like,
such that people are like throwing each other under the bus trying to,
And again, when they get eliminated, it's not, these guys are wrong and I'm the best. It's like, I had a lot to learn, and there were a lot better potters here. They just leave.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. It was.
I really enjoyed with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman, Making It. Mm-hmm. Is it a similar vibe where like crafters are supportive of one another, and it's not so cut and dry, right? It's very like up to interpretation, and you not appreciating my artistry is just a kind of a difference of opinion and perception, not necessarily like you stink and you're the best.
right. And so they have those ones that can kind of be interpreted, but they involve skill. So if your handle falls off, or you've not done something to the clay right and it cracks, there is something in there that there's judgment on. But there was a lady that time management was not her thing. And at the end of every challenge, I felt like there were 4 potters around her helping her like do something to her stuff so that she could meet the deadline and get her stuff fired, instead of being like, oh, I only got half of it done and here's what I presented. Like 4 people piled on and helped her like scrub off the polish on the bottom so it wouldn't stick to the kiln. And I don't know, again, just found some relaxing television that just kind of a fun, just pleasant. Everybody's pleasant and it's fun. And
the thing I think I like about what you've just described is when I watch the cooking shows, I'm always like, I wish I could taste it, right? Mm-hmm. With pottery, you're seeing it, right? I mean, I guess you're not going to get to feel the heft or like the hand feel of it, right? But
So the other joy is that one of the 2 potters that judge the stuff, he gets very emotional. Ooh. And it's not like the best piece that moved him or whatever. It's just like this person had a breakthrough in how they treat their pottery or something. And he recognizes it when he's examining it, that they've had a growth. And he finds the beauty in it, and he cries, and he gets like choked up when he's talking to them. And it's like, it's just joy. The whole show is just joy.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. And to be able to find a series that you can binge is always a joy.
4 seasons.
Oh, wow.
So I only had 1. I have 4 seasons.
Wow. You've got something to look forward to for,
Yeah, it's British television, so it's not as long of a series, but I got 4 of them.
Cool. So is that's a tip then?
Yeah. Go check out the Great British Pottery Throwdown, I think is what it's called. Yeah.
Because that's what you do.
Pottery.
You throw.
Yeah, you throw pottery. And it's not the throwing. Throwing is another word for twisting.
Got it.
So like they even explain stuff like that. The term throwing doesn't mean when you're throwing the pottery down. It's actually for the wheel where you're turning it.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It was good. And you get to see a lot of beautiful things getting made. And
the highlight of my weekend was the KAL chat. So getting to see everybody's projects and excitement. We had quite a few of Romy's shawls in progress, and getting to see everybody's color choices was exciting. A reminder, those threads are out there. I started a Clue 1 thread that has no spoilers, and then there is a just in general spoilers thread. So I'm not going to make one for every clue there. So don't go into the spoilers unless you want to be spoiled. And please don't post spoilers in the no spoilers clue threads. It was an exciting start.
Yeah.
On the MKAL, and then just all kinds of fun transitional pieces that we got to see this past weekend. This upcoming weekend, I do have breaking news. Because of scheduling issues, we're going to need to move the Josh Ricks Rabinsky chat up to 11 a.m. So I'll be sending an email to that end, but just anybody that's making weekend plans, sorry, that's going to get moved up a few hours. And again, if you were able to make it at 1, but you can't make it at 11, those are all available for watching after the fact in that same live streaming link.
Cool.
So yes, cool.
Yeah,
that's all the administrati I got.
Yeah, the other thing that I was watching over the weekend was the CrossFit stuff. So that's still going on. I get to do it in my basement. But there was a big competition this weekend, so
that's exciting.
Yeah. It was mostly remote. So, but interesting nonetheless, for me to follow along like a sport.
Yeah.
It is a sport.
I apparently forgot to SU in your your name there. You have an S in front of Amy.
Oh, I do. I am bringing spring.
Yes, you are bringing spring, and you had something to share. So yeah, you had a lot to share. I gave you a little bit of guff. I was like, these are some new whips that I haven't seen, and we just had a whips episode.
They're just not active whips.
True enough.
I mean, again, if you know me, I have active whips, not necessarily, but.
Well, they seemed more active this weekend, so you flopped over to them.
Yep. No, once I finished my sweater, a lot of those things got attention again. So I guess
you have other tips and tricks other than television shows to check out, right?
Right. So my tip is that when I'm trying to post about something that I'm working on that's a mystery, is that I tend to do the bunched non-spoiler alert so that you can show the colors and maybe you get a sneak peek of what it is, but you're not going to be able to tell the shape or necessarily all of the design elements, but you can still share it. Sometimes I will also just pick a corner that's not a spoilery and put it in the side of the picture. So it's visible, but not a spoiler. But so when I was sharing on Instagram, my picture was kind of like this, where you can only see a bunch of garter. And so garter might be the only clue that you got from my spoiler picture. But I am only 1.5 rounds from finishing my clue.
Cool.
And again, that's because other things got some attention. It wasn't that it was a big thing to tackle. I thought it was very manageable. So that's my tip, is when I'm trying not to spoil, but I want to share. I bunch things up or, cut things out so that I can still share, because I am doing this out of beaver yarn for the beaver along. So this is my eager beaver. And then this is my Saturday night beaver.
We definitely had some beaver enabling.
Yeah. And so, since I'm in 2 KALs and I want to share both of them, I'm trying to not spoil people by making sure that the work is kind of bunched, but still show off the yarn.
I've also seen people leave just a little bit peeking out of like a project bag.
Yes, that's also, yep. And then my eager beaver. Yeah.
Big eyes.
Yeah.
Big eyes.
He's very eager to buy this yarn. So, yeah. I have a cat at my feet.
Meow, meow. My tip or trick is actually kind of a funny story. I was working on adding the, as I'm wont to tell, the crochet edging on my blanket, my interlock and key blanket. And it was sitting on my lap. And it's funny because that this just happened because for whatever reason, Sullivan decided that day that he wanted to sit in my lap and he wanted to sit on my work in progress.
Oh, that doesn't happen as much. Oh,
no,
I'm sorry. I have a swivel table and she is bumping the table. Sorry.
See, so this is fitting. Like she's like, Sullivan isn't the only one that gets attention here. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, we have the FOC status, right? The friend of cat, as you are right now status. I guess I'm not putting any more crochet edging on the edge of this. But it was just kind of a subtle like cat life reminder that finished objects are kind of up for interpretation. In Sullivan's mind, this blanket was perfectly capable of covering my lap and he wanted to sit on it. And so I've been want to put on the hoe, the half object, finished for sock, right, as motivation. As you're working on the other one, I will put on and just the other day, I'd gotten to the bottom of my night book, and this was sitting here and I was cold, and I put, it had the sleeves set aside on provisional yarn, and I put it on. I was like, well, I'm cold. I'm gonna wear this. It's kind of done, right? It's kind of done. Yeah, sure. And so, yeah, I don't know, just, you've gotten to a point on, really the star of the show. I need the best camera angle. You tried on your most recent, whip and decided that you like the sleeves at that length too, right? So finished object, if you had taken it at what you thought, it wasn't finished yet, but then you got to a point where you're like, no, this is really finished. So yeah, that was fun and funny. And then also on this, and I really like the way it turned out on these sleeves, I decided to combo the provisional bind off and a provisional cast on for the underarm. So a provisional bind off is just basically taking spare yarn and binding off rather than setting aside the stitches on a live piece of yarn. And I got to the end of it and I was like, I've got this tail, and then I had the working needle and it was like, okay, cable cast on. And I was like, or I could get my crochet hook out and I could do the provisional cast on of that number of stitches with the tail of my provisional bind off. And so I did that, and then it just ends up ripping out the provisional cast on and then ripping out the provisional bind off. And I really like how it turned out on the underarm. So rather than picking up stitches here, I just had live stitches. And I like the way that it's even with the rest of the work rather than kind of being a little lower when you pick up the stitches. So here's where I joined in, and that needs to be retensioned a little bit there. But yeah, I don't know. I may try that again in the future. Provisional bind off and then do a provisional cast on. I think with the provisional cast on, you do end up with like an extra little leg. So you end up with more stitches. So you could provisionally cast on one less stitch. But I just chose to do like a knit two together to close the gap anyway. So, yeah. Yep. That would be my tip. And then also, I just happened to have a locking stitch marker when Sullivan decided that the blanket was done and did not need the edging. And I do that because I'm very concerned. I'm a knitter, not a crocheter, right? I'm very concerned about that live stitch. And I know other people just pull up a huge loop. I put a locking stitch marker in it. So Sullivan and I sat and enjoyed the blanket that wasn't quite finished, but he thought was finished together with a locking stitch marker in that loop so that it wouldn't because that's what crochet does.
Yes. I can't do
Unlike knitting, where you would have some live stitches to like help yourself get back. Nope. Crochet's just like
I'm gone. Yeah.
Yep, gone. So that was a lot of tips. I was just telling Amy earlier that I couldn't think of any, but apparently
like an hour ago. So
just needed to think a little harder.
Yeah. Yeah. As you're saying, locking stitch markers, it's like, yep, locking stitch markers need to be in everybody's toolkit, and you probably need at least 50 of them.
Yeah, no, this one likes to jump. The bright green makes it a little easier to find, but I feel like I've fished this one out of the couch quite a few times.
Yep, and I have a very needy baby. Needy, my goodness. She will not let me alone, and she's purring.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
And then drink coffee out of hand-thrown mugs. I was doing that.
This one is a store-bought one. But,
okay. Best mom ever.
Dexter wanted to get it for me one time for Mother's Day, so I take it when I can.
Yes. At one time, he thought I was the best mom ever.
I think I've told the story on here, another tangent, of we bought my husband a trophy that has a toilet on it and it says world's stinkiest dad, because my kids joke with him that he's stinky. But I was like, I need like a world's punniest mom.
Ooh.
But I don't know what but what would, it wouldn't be a toilet. It'd have to be something punny.
A pickle.
Maybe.
Like I'm a big
Are
dill?
pickles punny?
Yeah. You have a lot of pickle puns.
I do have a lot of pickle puns, and pickles are kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So you need world's punniest mom
with a
pickle award. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who sells those,
I'll get my family
but I'm sure
on
they
that.
Sell them somewhere.
Yeah, I'll get my family on that. Well, the world's stinkiest dad had to be customized, so.
Right. No, I mean, but there's got to be some sort of agricultural award ceremony that's used a pickle at some point.
Well, I think in some management circles, it's like a pass the pickle type thing. I've heard of like a pickle award.
See, so it
exists. It exists. So. Yeah. Anyway, we've told a lot of stories today. Hopefully intermixed with some tips and tricks. This is always kind of the grab bag of episodes.
That's good. I mean, what else are we? Yeah. So, watch a lot of joyful British television to help you relax and
consider whether or not your work in progress is actually has utility even in its current form.
Right. It can be done.
It can be done. Totally done. I really enjoy the people at Rhinebeck walking around with needles actually in their sweaters. That
it's done.
I love it. I love it. So
yeah.
All right. Good to see you, Amy.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, Ufta.
Kitty.
Meow meow.